Hey everyone, welcome to another video, and in this video we are going to talk about things you have to do if you're going for fall 22. Super important. First of all, congratulations to everyone who got into a US university. You went through the painful procedure of applications, you went through the painful procedure of visa interviews, and now you're on the brink of flying out and achieving your dream. Now, I want to shamelessly plug something. I did create a course. I created a course which covers all of these topics in detail, and with links and resources and everything. I want to leave that link in description. But in this video, we are going to cover a few topics which are super important, which you have to do as soon as you get to the US. Let's talk about number one, bank account. Having money is the most important thing, and you cannot just mess around with it. The easiest thing when you're going to the US in terms of bank account is to open a bank account which is closest to the university, because let's say you have to go to the bank to make any kind of transaction. Usually they have ATMs right outside. You won't really need cash if you have a debit card and a credit card. I'm going to tell you about that. But in case you need it, it's right there. I have 4 or 5 bank accounts. Few of them is because of I got like a great sign up bonus, but I really use Chase, Ellis, One Easy Credit Union. I don't use Purdue Federal Credit Union. I opened a Purdue Federal Credit Union and I don't use it that much, but I keep it in case I want to buy a home, and it's easy to buy a home with a credit union. So open a bank account, Chase, Wells Fargo, whatever, but open one which is closer to your university, and you can have multiple bank accounts. There's no limitations on how many bank accounts you can have as a student, as a person who's working as well. It's really about managing. A lot of bank accounts are $0 annual fees, so just make sure you check that before signing up. Now, I want to tell you about a product. There's Ellis bank account. It's specially for international students. It's founded by an international student. So what Ellis does is it lets you open a bank account in India before you're flying out to the US. They ask for your I-20 and they ask for your some passport information, but they'll give you a US bank account. And the easiest thing is that you can get a virtual debit card. Ellis also has a $0 wire transfer fees, which is amazing as compared to Chase, Wells Fargo, Bank of America. All of these big banks do charge $25-30 for every international wire transfer. So let's say I need funds, and my dad's sending me funds. Even if it's $2,000 or $5,000, they will be charging a fixed amount of fees. That's just their forex fee. Ellis does not charge that. Now, how I used to transfer money is because I had a loan from SBI. SBI transfer your personal funds into a forex card, and through that forex card, you are able to get money transferred into your debit, like your bank account. I used to go to the bank and swipe the card because they had to swipe to transfer into my account. You can't do that with Ellis. That's the only catch. But I would still recommend opening an account because that will allow you to pay for Ubers and pay for online expenses if there is any. One more thing, Chase also offers some benefit when you're opening account. If you have a GATA or if you have any kind of job online, and if you deposit a direct deposit, which is your salary within 90 days of opening a bank account, Chase will give you a $200 sign-up bonus, which is amazing. As compared to Ellis, if you deposit $200 in Ellis, they'll give you $20. My second point is credit card. Get a credit card. It's super important. 2-3 reasons for a credit card and why I'm such a big fan of credit cards and why I was late on this journey to get a credit card. First thing is credit cards transactions are very secured. Let's say I buy something, right, and I'm scammed online. My credit card has a charge of $1,000, which I did not make. That because credit card works on delayed transactions, I will not have to pay. I can report that as a scam and I'll not have to pay that money. But in case of debit, your money goes out of your account and that's it. Credit cards are great for emergency funds as well. Let's say your parent or loan account has been sending you money, but it's coming in late. You still have some like $800, $1,000, $2,000 in your bank account for you to make payments. And I have a bunch of credit card videos. I'm going to leave those links in the description, but I'll recommend 2 credit cards to you, which you should definitely go for. And I'll tell you, within the first month, you'll be able to make $250 because they have a very high acquisition cost when it comes to customers. So first one is Deserve credit card. You do not need social security number for it. They give you $30 for referral. The great thing is they give you free Amazon Prime student. They give you cell phone insurance. So if you buy a phone and pay it through that card, you get $800 of insurance. You also get cashback on everything. Plus, you have no foreign transaction fees, so you can use that card in India and not accrue any fees. One thing I really like is when you rent out vehicles in the US, you have to pay for insurance. Deserve covers the primary insurance on your car also. So I want you to look through the details, but apply to Deserve. The second card I would recommend is through American Express, and that's through Nova Credit. If you have any kind of credit history in India, you need to apply for Amex. Amex gives great benefits, plus it gives you a bigger credit limit, like a higher credit limit. Let's say Deserve is giving you $1,500. Amex will give you $5,000 credit limit. But the only caveat is that you need to have a credit history in India for doing that. And Amex is amazing because they do also give like a sign-up bonus of $200 if you spend $2,000, within a period of 6 months. And that's a big sign-up bonus. $200 you're just making because you're spending more money. The only recommendation with credit cards is that you pay back all the amount which you are spending in a month. That's my only thing. Do not accrue a lot more amount. Like, don't buy things which you can't afford. Only buy things which you can afford, and buy it through credit card so that you get points, you get cash back, you get offers, and you're more secured in your transactions. Number 3, health insurance. This is my go-to recommendation to every student is get a health insurance from the university for the first year. You do not know the intricacies of how crazy health insurance can be when it comes to the US. 2020, I had a stomach ache. I ate something wrong and I had a stomach ache, and it was really bad. I went to the doctor, to the emergency room. My copay is something which you have to pay, and the insurance covers the rest. So my copay was $300. As per right now, that's like 24,000 rupees. So I did pay 24,000 rupees, but some months later I was going through my insurance details, and I looked like what the hospital charged my insurance for my emergency room visit, and that was over $12,000. And that like kind of baffled me, like what if somebody doesn't have insurance? What if somebody has insurance which is reimbursement based, so you have to pay first and then they'll reimburse you? That's why I tell everyone that get an insurance from the university, and that should cover you for the good. Number 4, phone plans. There are a bunch of options, right? First things first, there's a link in description. Go check if your phone's going to work with the SIM cards here or not. That should be your first priority. Second priority, what phone plan should you get? We talked about Ellis as a bank account. Ellis also offers phone plans. When you are signing up through the link, you get second month free. They were kind enough because I promoted them on Instagram. So they're like, oh, for all the Gradical users, we'll give second month free. And I was like, that's awesome. Thank you so much. I'll share that. So you can get the SIM card in India. That's the best thing. You can get it shipped to India. You can activate right before coming to the US. And once you're in the US, you can use that phone to make calls, to get connected. And they have internet plans with 5G and everything. So you should really, really check it out. And the plans start at $35. But if you're getting second month free, that's more like, less than $20 per month for the first 2 months. Once you get to the US, you have different options. Ellis uses T-Mobile as well as their network, but I've used T-Mobile, and I've also used Verizon on my work phone. I like T-Mobile. It's cheap. If you're going into a family plan, it's more affordable. Plus, it gives you unlimited internet. And if you have a budget, 30. The only problem with Mint, like T-Mobile or AT&T or Verizon, is that you have to find a lot more people to make a family plan. Mint Mobile is another one. I don't think they ship SIMs to India, but what they have very cheap plans for phones. Mint Mobile ships like SIM cards to your home, and you can get it. And I think they have an offer going on, which is like just for $15, you can get unlimited internet. and that's 15. You have to have a 3 months contract with them. So for $45, you have unlimited internet, calls, and texts, and they also run on T-Mobile. So you should check it out. And Mint Mobile is the one which Ryan Reynolds promotes. So he's a funny guy. I fucking love him. Now, over the past 5 years, I haven't had any problems with T-Mobile. We do have some problems when we are traveling and you're on the highway. Sometimes the network goes out. But other than that, T-Mobile is pretty solid. There's also a map which you can check out where T-Mobile network is. I'll leave that link in description as well. Number 5th, check in with your international student services. International student services, like, they will of course have orientation. In case you're late, check in with them. You don't have to physically go and check in with them. You just go through the orientation. They'll tell you about travel signatures. They'll tell you about CPT, OPT, STEM extension. They'll let you in, like, all the immigration thing. Also, ISS offers lawyers in case you're in trouble. They wouldn't offer lawyers in case you're suing the university, but they'll offer lawyer assistance in case you are in trouble of any other sort. In case you're in trouble with your apartments, you can get university's help for that. So check in with your international student services. Number 6th, setting up utilities. Okay, this is super important. In the apartments in the US, it's not the case in the most apartments, but it is case with at least the apartments I've lived in, which is, I've lived in Indiana, I've lived in Providence, I've lived in Tucson now, I've lived in Phoenix, and Chicago, my sister used to live. In all of these cases, you have to get, you have to pay a deposit and get electricity on. Different electricity companies operate electricity in different states. Your apartment will ideally send you a list of all of these utilities. So in case of Tucson, it's TEP, that's Tucson Electric Power. In case of Phoenix, it was APS and SRP. In case of Indiana, it was Duke Energy. I had to call them. And your apartment will tell you that, hey, you have to call them and start your electricity service. If you don't call them, you'll not have electricity when you get to the US. So make sure of that. Now comes to Wi-Fi. Wi-Fi, super essential part as well, right? You have to spend some money for Wi-Fi. Wi-Fi is kind of cheap depending on how many people are living in your apartment. More the people, the cheaper the bill is. Same thing with the utilities. The more people, less money you spend on electricity, less money you spend on Wi-Fi. One recommendation I can give you in terms of Wi-Fi is get a router. Buy a router. I'm going to leave a link of a router. Get that router for yourself, because do not rent the router which Cox Wi-Fi or AT&T or Verizon or other internet providers are giving you, because CenturyLink is one, Xfinity is one, because their routers are on rent and you always end up spending more than what you have to when you're buying. So spend that $120, $150 in the initial phases and buy that router, because you can sell it out for 50, 60 and make the difference and just spend that like small amount of money. But buy your own router and make sure it's compatible with the network services. You might not have internet for a while, because internet's one of the services which you get started a little later. Having phone internet during that time is super useful. So again, if you want a SIM card, go to this link below. You can order a SIM card to India and get it started as soon as possible. Renter's insurance. Renter's insurance is another thing. Renter's insurance basically covers in case of anything happens to your house, anything happens to your apartment, since you have the lease, and some major damage happens because of you, or if there's a fire, renter's insurance will cover you, right? Most of the apartments tell you that you have to have 100,000 minimum renter's insurance. In that case, get a minimum 100,000 renter's insurance. I know Lemonade offers one. I have Geico myself. I've used Geico for a while now. And people, it's really up to the apartment. The apartment sometimes recommends different renter's insurance. So just go for what your apartment's recommending, because it's the easiest. Sometimes it's the cheapest, and you should be solid. So, summing up few things which we talked about a bank account. You can open a bank account in India, get some money deposit for your Ubers and virtual debit card. As soon as you come here, open a bank account in one of the big banks, or one of the banks which is closest to your university. Second thing we talked about was credit cards. Get a credit card, start building your credit history, because credit history builds your credit score. Credit score helps you get lower rates on your car payments and everything. Um, and Deserve and Amex is the way to go. Zolve is a very subpar product. Don't go for Zolve. Number three thing we talked about was health insurance. Go for the university insurance. That's my recommendation. I've seen people going for a cheaper insurance, and that's completely fine. My recommendation will always be going for the university's insurance for at least the first year. Second year, you decide what you have to do. Fourth thing we talked about was phone plans. You can get a SIM card shipped to India, and when you're buying a phone, buy it from the US. They always have some plans, and I have made a separate video. I'll leave that link in description as well. Or if I haven't, I'll leave that when I would have made it. Number fifth thing we talked about was check in with international student services. Basically understand what OPT is, what CPT is. When you're going to India, you need to get a travel signature. Your university will tell you all of these things, so you should be solid there. Number six, setting up utilities. When you're moving into an apartment, you have to get lighting on, you have to get water on, and your apartment will give you a list that these things should be on before you move in. I forgot what's the number, but Wi-Fi. Get your own router, and if you're 6 students living, get a higher plan. If you have 2 students living, get a lower plan. Anything over 100 Mbps is pretty good if you have 2-3 people. If you have over 6 people, then you'll have to need a higher plan. But don't rent a router, get a router for yourself. And last was the renter's insurance. That also your apartment will tell you, get it. It's mandatory by the law and by the apartment complexes, so you'll have to get the renter's insurance. And that's it. Wow, my mouth is really dry. Thank you so much, guys, for watching this one. I hope you found this useful. And if you want, I'll be posting more Fall 22 videos. You can check that out. I've left all the links in description. You can check that out as well. Thank you so much. And until then, I'll see you in the next one. Take care, everyone.